What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here. In this one, we got some transfer portal departure news for the Wolverines, as Wolverines lose a receiver to the portal as he plans to enter the portal. And then we also go over a defensive lineman who has been impressing so far, and also how the Michigan defensive line has been getting the better of the offensive line thus far. We also go over some recruiting news and an update on a couple of 5-star targets for the Wolverines, as well as an update on the 5-star quarterback Ryder Lyons, as he is set to take a visit to Michigan this weekend, and a top 100 in-state target in the 2027 class. We go over all that and more in this video, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so I first wanted to talk about some transfer portal news and some departures for the Wolverines. We'll first start with the Michigan wide receiver Amorion Walker, as he has entered the transfer portal yet again. As it came out yesterday, Walker spent 3 seasons at Michigan. He already transferred before. He transferred to Ole Miss for the spring of 2024 before returning to Michigan for the 2024 season. Walker does have a redshirt season and has 2 years of eligibility remaining, and obviously the transfer portal opens up April 16th, will close April 25th for the spring portal window, and Michigan is expected to lose some players. And unfortunately, I just think that Amorion Walker wasn't really going to see the field too much here at Michigan, especially with the new receiver addition out of Donovan McCulley and other receivers stepping up in the room. And then also Michigan also has to get their number of players down to 105. So obviously best of luck to Amorion Walker. And then also another player who does plan to enter the portal is the defensive tackle Alessandro Lorenzetti. He's been at Michigan since 2022, hasn't appeared in any games though. Began his career as an offensive lineman at Michigan, but shifted to defensive line. But obviously he was just, buried on the depth chart throughout his career here at Michigan. So just wanted to mention that. And then I also wanted to talk about Michigan's defensive line. We talked about him before, how dominant and how much depth they have on the defensive line going into this upcoming season, as obviously Ian Eda even said that it reminds him of the national championship team with the amount of depth they have. And according to Chris Ballas of the Wolverine, one player who has been very impressive so far is the Clemson transfer Trey Williams, as he's been powerful and has shown up in a big way. And also Damon Payne, Rashawn Benny, and the backups also have brought it. Obviously Michigan has, again, one of the best edge rushing duos out of Derek Moore and TJ Guy. Derek Moore has been living in the backfield in some scrimmages, but so far the Michigan defensive line is getting the better of the offensive line, obviously. And Michigan's offensive line definitely needs to show some signs of improvement from last season to this season, but obviously the Michigan defensive line is going to be one of, if not the best defensive lines in college football again. And obviously the saying iron sharpens iron, which should be good for the whole Michigan offense for that matter. And obviously we'll get a first look of the whole team for the first time in the spring game, which is next Saturday, April 19th. Won't be televised until the week after on Big Ten Network, but there is free admission. And then I also wanted to talk about some recruiting news here for the Wolverines and on a couple 5-star targets. And we'll first start with the 2026 5-star edge Carter Meadows. He is a 5-star and on 3 rankings, is ranked as a 4-star top 100 player on 24/7 Sports rankings, but he recently took a trip to Michigan, and he told E.J. Howland of the Wolverine that some of the highlights were being around some of the other recruits and feeling the energy around Ann Arbor. And he said that I like everything they have going on up there. Practice was super competitive. He also said he likes how Coach Wink Martindale lets his edge rushers play free. He uses what they do best and helps them get in the best position, and that's how I see myself fitting in there. And he also said he loves Coach Moore and Coach Lou Esposito, the defensive line coach, as he said they were doing it for their players and not themselves, and that's what I like. But other than football though, he's also very impressed with the education, and ultimately Michigan definitely high on his list, he says, and obviously is now set to return to Michigan for his official visit on June 20th, which will be huge. That is a top target, very important priority target right there for the Wolverines. And then I also wanted to talk about the 5-star offensive tackle Jackson Cantwell, #1 recruit on 24/7 Sports composite rankings in the 2026 class. We've talked a lot about him. Michigan in the top 6, and the latest on him, though, according to Steve Wiltfong of On3, is that Cantwell said that I have all the information I need. Don't know how an official visit would change that, really, and that he could shut down his process sooner rather than later. Now, Michigan is set to get him on campus for an official visit. However, according to Pete Nakos of On3, sources tell them that Georgia, Miami, and Oregon have emerged as the 3 top schools to watch at this point in his recruitment. However, Cantwell told Steve Wiltfong of On3 that his list hasn't been narrowed down anymore, and most likely no more trips before official visits, though. So those look like the top 3 teams currently. However, he has also spoken highly of Ohio State, Michigan, and also Missouri as well. So that's the latest on Jackson Cantwell. And also wanted to talk about a very important recruit that's set to visit Michigan this weekend, and that is the 2026 5-star quarterback Ryder Lyons. He is one of many top prospects Michigan is set to host this weekend, but obviously a big one. We've talked a lot about him before. Michigan making him a big priority and one of their top quarterback targets, and this will be his first time on campus for a visit. Michigan will also look to potentially lock in an official visit from him while he's on this visit, so a big time visit right there. Michigan's also set to host the 2026 4-star edge Mikhail Blade from the state of Illinois, and also many other targets as well. And then I also wanted real quick here to talk about a elite in-state target, and that is the 2027 in-state 4-star tight end Anthony Cartwright from Franklin, Michigan. Goes to Detroit Country Day High School and is ranked 47th nationally on 24/7 Sports rankings. He's a 6'5", 220 tight end. Obviously, Michigan has a ton of top in-state elite talent in the 2027 class. That includes Dakota Garant, the top wide receiver, or one of the top wide receivers in the 2027 class. But Cartwright told E.J. Holland of the Wolverine after a recent visit that it was cool catching up with everybody. He said that I know a lot of the people on the team now from past visits and everything. I got to talk to some of the coaches. Everything looked good. And also Bryce Underwood. He got to watch him throw, and he said that he looked really good. And they had nothing but great things to see about the team. And obviously one of the big selling points throughout the visit was Bryce Underwood. And Cartwright said that, he looks ready. The coaches told me he's been putting in work. Even the players told me he's been putting in extra work. And he said, I know he can throw the ball. So ultimately he said Michigan definitely one of the top schools, and there are a lot of great things about Michigan. And obviously, having Bryce Underwood as a selling point to a lot of these top receiver targets and even tight ends is a very big selling point while on these recruiting visits. And now they got a chance to put it even more on display this upcoming season, which is going to be huge. But with that, that's going to wrap up this video. I did just post a commitment video from the UCLA 7-3 center Adai Mara, so make sure to go ahead and check that video out if you guys haven't already. Dusty May and company bringing another huge portal commitment there. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more if you are new around here. I greatly appreciate it, and we will see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.